Okay, good. We're live. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to check it first. So, hello, my strange and charmed ones. Welcome back to my channel for another video. Today is Wednesday, October 21st. It is Back to the Future Day. If anyone has ever seen Back to the Future 2, you know that Marty McFly went back to the future into 2015, October 21st. So, happy Back to the Future Day to you if you are a Back to the Future fan, and Anne here has some Back to the Future merchandise with her. So today, as you guys can tell from the title of this video, I am hosting another one of these Charmed Biz chats, okay? So these are going to be my new monthly, or maybe more often, who knows, whenever I feel like I want to do one of these chats where I have maybe some experts, there's some great kind of business content to talk to you guys about. I'm going to do a Charmed Biz chat, okay? So today we're talking about a new platform, Periscope, that has kind of been making its way around the internet. It's kind of sweeping the internet, specifically within the business community, because Periscope has apparently been a magnet for sort of business people, business coaches, people who are seeking out sort of continuing education and feedback on businesses. So today I am very pleased to introduce that I have with me two of my favorite business besties and two of my favorite Periscopers, Miss Anne Samoylov and Mandy Jean from Mandy Jean Chic is back with us again today. So I think they might be on mute right now, but in a second. What? There we go. No longer on mute. Okay.
And the gates are open.
Yes, the floodgates have opened. Let the games begin.
It's like no Game of Thrones, though.
Oh yeah, no Game of Thrones. This is Game of Empires. We build them here. We don't off one another. So we have all gathered today, like I said, for the topic of Periscope because, you know, Anne and Mandy and I really think for you guys, the reason I wanted to do this, other than the fact that Anne and Mandy and I were having this epic conversation one day over voice memos about how we've been using Periscope and how it's been changing and how we feel like our approach to Periscope has been changing since now kind of the luster has worn off a little bit on Periscope because it's not so fancy and new and bright and shiny object anymore. So we were having this chat. And Anne actually had the idea that we should like jump on a call together and talk about this. And I was like, well, let's make it a Charmed Biz because I need to do one. So let's make it a Charmed Biz. And what I think is going to be really interesting for you guys is that when it comes to me, Anne, and Mandy, all of our businesses, for you guys watching at home, you're going to get three completely different strategies to Periscope, three different ways that people use this successfully to grow their business, to grow their following and their influence online and to spread their message. But you're also going to see three different business ladies who are at three different stages in their business. So we've got Anne Samoylov, who is the queen, the launch boss of Fearless Launching. And I'll let her introduce herself in a minute, but you know, just to give you a brief, like quick and dirty on Anne, like she's been in business for quite a few years at this point. Anne has a breadth of experience. She worked on Marie Forleo's B School. She worked on launches with Jonathan Field. Like Anne knows her launching stuff, and her business has been going on strong for a few years now. So you've got someone who's a little bit more of a totally established business, like been there, done that. I'm established, like earning her income, and like it's been regular and great and awesome. So Anne is like I don't want to say like she's like our I can't think of the word. I don't want to say
like
she's
say mama.
No, not mama. I would say like I like, oh geez, that word when someone's been doing something for a long time, but I can't think of. She's seasoned, okay? Then you've got me, okay, who has been full-time for myself for like a year and a half at this point. I think like a year and a half. So I'm someone who started their business from their side hustle, went full-time, and I'm a year and a half in. So I'm doing it full-time, but I'm still a little bit of a newbie. Like I'm still new at it, you know, I'm still like getting my fins wet. I'm still like a journeyman. Anne's like our expert, but that wasn't the word I was going to say. There was another one. And then you've got Mandy.
Word like that.
It was a good word. I'm so mad. Sometimes I forget stuff.
Then
we've got Mandy Jean, okay, who is still working on her business as a side hustle, and she hopes to one day, launch herself into her own, running her own business. But she's in the beginning stages still. She's someone who maybe, like you, has the idea, is working on it. And so what I'm hoping today is that you're getting 3 different breadths of experience here. You're getting 3 different takes from people who have, someone who's more established, someone who's been doing it but still learning the ropes, and then we've got someone who is still like paddling their way through like a little duckling. Mandy's a little duckling with her little feet going a million miles an hour under the water.
A raccoon in a bathtub.
Oh God, not the raccoon.
Don't go there.
Don't go there. Okay, so let me go ahead. I've talked long enough. Let me start with Anne. Anne, please introduce yourself to our viewers here.
Thank you, Alexis. It's so funny that you call me a seasoned business owner, because I honestly half the time don't feel like that, but I have technically been running what is my business now since about 2012. That's where I think that it really started, but even at that point, it was still a side hustle. And what I do is I teach entrepreneurs, especially the ones who are overwhelmed, aren't really sure what the next steps are, aren't really digging the Google tool that much, and if they are using it, they're not necessarily finding the right things, helping them take their ideas to the launch stage. And if you're running a business, if you're starting a business, eventually you got to launch it, whether it's a product, a service, or the business, or the blog, or whatever itself. So I like Alexis said, I've worked with a lot of people online, like Marie Forleo and Laura Roeder and Jonathan Fields, and a lot of other entrepreneurs too, like Hillary Rushford, Aaron Stutland, Cheryl Barr, Jen Loudon. She's like she's an author as well, and so I've worked with a lot of different types of people. But before that, I was also helping video games, filmmakers, TV show creators launch their things too. So that's what I do. Is that good? Is that the skinny?
We call Anne the launch boss because she helps you launch, and she is the boss at it. So
and I actually boss you around, and when anybody tries to boss me around, I say, you're not the boss of me. That's not a joke, actually. I do say that.
Okay, so now Anne is, let's go over to Mandy Jean. Mandy Jean, tell our audience about you.
My name is Mandy Jean, and I am the blogger behind Mandy Jean Chic. I am also a video media coach, and lately, a DIYer, a lot. So I have been blogging since 2011 with Mandy Jean Chic. I went through some rebranding processes, some changes, and recently started kind of focusing Mandy Jean Chic more on lifestyle, but also including the video media, because that's something that I'm very passionate about. I love YouTube, I love video media, I love Periscope. I'm starting to do the Instagram videos, so that is really what I've kind of filtered my business towards, and that is what I'm starting.
Sorry, I have to like go between screens to like.
I was looking at the comments that made me laugh.
Oh. Yeah, I just started reading the comments. I was like, oh, that's right, there's comments there. Must do that as well.
I can't see comments, can I? Or no?
Not from where you are. You have to have like the watch, like the page that people would be watching up.
Got it.
I had it up just to check to make sure we were started and stuff like that, but I can also see the comments. So Mandy and I have got our eyes on the comments, yeah, and we'll let you know when if someone asks a question that maybe you need to answer. Yeah, the launch.
We'll tell you if anyone wants to talk to you. Sorry, I'm a little sassy today.
Anne's a little sassy. I was a little under sassy, so I made myself like a little like impromptu pumpkin spice latte, like as we were coming on here.
Are you sassier now?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm getting more caffeinated, and plus, if you guys don't know, Anne and Mandy and I are like, we're like legit business BFFs. So we have a lot of inside jokes. We're gonna try not to do any of those today, so that you guys don't feel left out. Because this is like, we're kind of nutty, and we're just 3 ladies who just like to have fun talking about business stuff, because what's more fun than business stuff? Nothing is the answer. That's the answer. Nothing is more fun than business stuff. So, okay, so to jump in, what I've done was I've actually written a few questions, okay? So I'm going to ask our guests, Anne and Mandy, a question, And then I'm going to answer it myself, and it all has to do with our topic today of Periscope. And then at the end, if you guys want to hold your questions, we're going to get to a Q&A. So hopefully this won't be more than an hour. I deliberately kept the questions kind of to a minimum so that we'd have more questions to answer from the audience at the end. So I hope that that works for you guys. So, but Mandy and I will have our eyes on the comments if you guys have something that pops up that we can answer really quickly for you. Okay, so question number one, and we're going to ask Anne first, is pertaining to Periscope. What is the general strategy for the way that you use Periscope and why? Anne, how do you use Periscope? Why do you do it? What's your strategy? Tell everybody.
Okay, so up until now, I'm just going to say the general strategy really was just to get on there, be present, and be helpful even in some small way. And so what I've been doing up to this point is I get on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I set a top 3 with people, their top 3 focus for the day, and I usually try to give some insight as to why setting your top 3 is important, especially as it relates to moving your business forward, getting together a launch, doing that kind of thing, because launching is overwhelming. So sometimes simply having accountability can really make sure that you're moving forward. So my strategy really has just been to do that. And the reason why I even wanted to get on Periscope in the first place was because this year I was creating a lot more content than past years. It did great, and had a big impact on my community and the growth of my list and my reach in different areas. But what I realized is that I was just getting tired, and honestly, I've been looking for a really lazy way to create content creation that felt easy. And I've been trying to do this, I feel like, since the middle of the summer. And so when I jumped on Periscope, it was I realized this could be it. This could be my alternate place to just create more content for people. But do it in a very simple way. I'm not going on giving launch tips every day. I'm going on and actually helping people hopefully build a skill that will help them launch at some point. Because it's just like study skills with homework and studying and being in school. The actual act and ritual of setting the top 3 will help you be more productive, beat the overwhelm that can often happen with all the pieces related to a launch. So really my strategy has just been to find an easy way to connect with people instead of just writing another blog post or trying to do a video with my meager setup over here for YouTube, which I was doing, but I just like this a lot better.
Yeah, so that's definitely something I think that we can all relate to. The thing between, with Anne, Mandy, and I, something that we have in common when it comes to our businesses is that all 3 of us are very heavy on the content creation. Or creating original content is a big part of all of our strategies. So, Mandy, I'm going to ask you now. What's your strategy for Periscope and why?
I originally got on Periscope because of you, Alexis. When you did when it was your productivity and planning masterclass, when you did your announcement on Periscope, I joined because of that. So I never thought I'd be live broadcasting. I've had some pretty awkward moments on Periscope, actually, which has been really funny. But I use Periscope as a way to connect with people and to connect with a community. I am a little bit different than some other Periscopers in the fact that I like to have fun with it. That has been my big success with Periscope, and why I think I've connected with a lot of people is because I like to have fun with it. I like to get on and chit-chat. My Periscopes are normally a little bit longer because like the last 15-20 minutes, we're just talking about random things. And it's like, for me, I use Periscope as a way for all of us to connect and have that 30 minutes of girl time, because most of the time it is women, and have fun with that. Now, what has that actually done for me and for my brand and for my blog and for my video media coaching? One, it shows that anyone can get on Periscope and scope, and that it helps, and it shows people that it's okay to overcome that fear. It allows people to connect with me, and it allows me to really kind of fine-tune who I am and who I am with my business. I use Periscope for a few different reasons. My biggest plus, or my biggest love for Periscope is the fact that I can really judge by interaction when I have a product idea. And that's the one thing that I just really enjoy about Periscope is you get an instant market or an instant idea or an instant kind of like a roadmap of where you should go sometimes with things. And that's how I'm using Periscope and how I'm judging my success on Periscope. A lot of people are on there to do different things, which is why it's great having us three on there because all three of us do totally different things. And for me, number one, community building and to stay in front of the community. I guess that'd be number two. And number three is really kind of helping me filter where I'm at with my business and if I'm in the right direction that is focusing on my tribe members. Because when you're part of Mandy Chic, you're a tribe member.
Yeah, so and Mandy brings up another good point is that, you know, Periscope really is great for almost like market research. When you have a little bit of a community building, you can run ideas by them, ask them questions. Anne has been someone who has taught me this, and actually she had a webinar today, and she drove this home on the webinar as well, that it's really important when you're starting a business and running a business, not just when you're starting it, but when you're running it, and even continuing after you've launched. It's really important to talk to your audience and see what they want, see what they're thinking, and to connect with them. So absolutely great point, and that's definitely one of the great things Mandy does.
Well, and honestly, I connected with Anne via Periscope. I mean, that's when Anne and I really got to know each other a whole lot more. And then it just blossomed from there.
And it just grew from there. I wanted to say something else, Alexis, if I can, because Mandy brought something really great up, like some of like the things, some of the pluses to just being on Periscope right now. And part of the way that, just like Alexis said, all of us are very kind of content heavy or content focused because we're all focused on giving content to build the community. And therefore, through that building and that giving, people will become our customers, our clients, our students. And what I found is a direct correlation. And even though I will say that my style of selling on Periscope is very, very basically such bed level, it's so low level in comparison to a lot of other people on Periscope. I didn't even tell you guys this, I had to put my launch intensives now on a waiting list. I haven't even changed it yet, but today I was like, yeah, I don't have any more time to do these. So I'm like, and that I wasn't talking about my launch intensives on Periscope. I was just showing up, trying to give that kind of accountability, like I was saying before, and give that kind of like support. And that alone, I don't know if it was like enough, but that alone has definitely brought in a lot more inquiries about coaching, not even just fearless launching and other products, but something that I really wasn't planning to push. So
yeah, I mean, so that's one of the things that we're going to also talk about as well today is going to be like kind of selling on Periscope, because you know, people have asked each of us, you know, how you monetize Periscope. Is it like a monetized platform? And although it's not like YouTube, where, you know, for all of you guys who are watching this right now, you know, there's ad revenue and things like that are going to be, you know, that I'm going to garner a small amount of ad revenue for people watching this. But Periscope isn't like that, right? So the way that you kind of make money off of Periscope is by talking about what you've got. And Anne is a great example of how Anne wasn't even really focused against selling per se, but she was able to establish herself as that kind of that reliable launch boss figure and establish herself as an expert in launching. And by kind of giving her advice and positioning herself that way, she was able to get more customers, more clients that way. So that's absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. So I guess I'll go next. Okay, Alexis, what is your strategy for Periscope and why? Okay, so much like Anne, I got on Periscope. I got on Periscope because of Anne, because Anne was like, Alexis, this thing Periscope, everyone's on it. It's the new big thing. Let's get in while it's still hot on the ground floor. So, you know, I'm no newbie when it comes to video, obviously, because I've been on YouTube and I grew a big following on YouTube. But I, like Anne, was trying to find a way to convey my content, to add more conversation to my community, because I really didn't feel like I was communicating directly with people. Although, I have my Instagram account, I've got my YouTube, my blog, and I put out content and people can comment back, I didn't really feel a two-way street going on. And I really wanted a two-way street. Like, I wanted people to be talking to me. Just like Mandy said, you're able to talk directly to people and kind of do like market research. And even beyond that, you're just able to make connections with people in a totally different way. So back when I started, I think in July, I was doing 2 videos a week on YouTube. One was always like a more informal sort of vlog style video, and the other one was more of like a, I broke out the nice camera and talked about a serious topic and, was trying to add as much value as possible. So I had one like really hardy video, and then I'd have one like easier video. So at the time, what I decided to do was to, turn away from the easy video and add that to Periscope. I was doing 1 video a week on Periscope, where I would be able to introduce a topic the exact same way I would on a video, but instead of not having anyone to talk to about it, I would get immediate feedback. So that's how I started when I was using Periscope to begin with. And you guys know, if you've been following me, I know many of you guys have been following me, that I had I've had some bumps, I guess you should say, with this transition. I mean, a lot of people for some reason thought I'd quit YouTube, even though I still put up a YouTube video every week. So I had a lot of people who were like, "You've abandoned YouTube," and I'm like, no, I just took the one video that I thought was always the crappy video and put it to a direct and put it into a different format where it would be easier. That quality didn't matter, because in Periscope, the quality isn't what you go for. You go for the talking and the interaction and the information. So you guys know I tried to put my Periscopes onto YouTube, but there was still, Periscope. At the time, Periscope was only vertical. The video was only vertical, and I know that that's changed. But what I realized was that the way that you film a Periscope, Periscope is it's basically just a chat with people live. So to me, it didn't make sense to put those onto YouTube, because when I take my YouTube seriously, is I guess what I'm trying to say. When I do my YouTube videos, I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys like awesome content, that there's a lot of value, that I'm respecting your time, and that I'm really creating something that is worthy of you guys sitting down on YouTube to watch it. And when it came to the Periscope videos going to YouTube, Periscope is, when you're having a chat, you're talking and people are commenting and you're responding to questions, and it can be a little distracting to move that. People are giving you the hearts, absolutely. And, people, you're getting a totally different sort of experience. So I stopped putting my Periscope onto YouTube, because to me, it was not compatible, and I did not want to risk, I didn't want to risk putting out a cruddy quality just to put a video up. Like, that's not what I'm about. I'm not about just putting any sort of content up, like, just to have a video up. Like, to me, like, my YouTube, I keep at a really high standard. So how I was using it was, once a week I'd go on, I would take a topic. To be honest, a lot of the topics that I covered on my Periscope videos it was actually content I was recycling. So it was a blog post I had written that I thought maybe, it did well, but I didn't think that people were interacting with it enough. So I was like, you know what? This was great content. I don't think people interacted enough with it, so I'm going to make it a video, like a Periscope video. Because, to be honest, all of us put out so much content that it almost gets to a point where I feel like I put out too much content sometimes. So I wanted to start reusing some of my best content and sharing it on Periscope. Specifically, any of the topics that I had that were really business-oriented. So, like Anne, I have had some really good success with Periscope with selling. I actually ended up launching my fall planner bundles that I had done. I actually launched those on Periscope, and it was really awesome. There was tons of people that came to watch it live. It was a really great experience. And to be really honest with you guys, I chose topics specifically that would highlight the fact that I sold things, sold products, info products like empire building, in order to get people to realize, like, hey, this girl knows what she's talking about, right? So I too, like Anne, was able to get make sales through Periscope just because I was sitting there answering people's questions, giving people good answers. And I'm sure there's actually, I know that there's some of you today that are here on this event live with us that purchased empire building after watching me live on a Periscope. So that is something that I've had a good amount of success with. And I actually found, that every time I went on Periscope, I was making several hundred to over $1,000 every day that I went on Periscope, because I was talking about business topics. I was giving you guys Q&A about empire building, about my other products and my workbooks, and I was making money on it. Like, it was absolutely, all I had to do was talk about those. I was, unlike Anne, I was selling a little bit. I wouldn't say that I was like, sell, like, everyone buy this, but I think it was clear to anybody who was watching that, I introduced a topic, I did like almost like a webinar, and then at the end, I would say, like, hey, you want more information about this? Buy empire building, or buy one of my shop reviews and have a one-on-one with me. So I definitely took selling a notch higher than Anne was, but I was having success with it. Every time I went onto Periscope, making several hundred to $1,000 a day, which pretty good for going on Periscope once a week. You know what I mean? Having like a good day because I was introducing topics to my community. So that is how I've been using Periscope, and why Periscope has been an important part of my communication with my community. I really think that it was a great way to talk to people and get instant feedback. So, but I will say that for me, things have started to change. And I know that with Anne and Mandy as well, our perspectives have changed a little bit on Periscope since we first started. So now I'm going to go ahead and jump in to the second question, unless any of you guys want to add anything to what I just said. But
I mean, not really, but I will say that, like, the few times that I basically heard the lecture, the good lecture, I don't mean that in a bad way, from Alexis about, how she suggested that I should, take that and take what was already naturally happening with people, like, inquiring about coaching, but actually, like, for a Teams class that I did, and she gave me some really specific examples. In fact, I think you were even on the Periscope, and you kept literally feeding the lines, which kind of forced, you can't help but say what's on the screen, so it's almost like you were feeding me the lines, like, do it here, say it there, do it again.
I'm like, Anne, I'm like, easy way to make it, just like under the radar, just a little bit of a pitch. Just tell people.
I know, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. And what was funny is I don't even know. Sometimes I forget what I tell you guys and what I just think in my head that I'm telling you guys. But sorry, but I went back and I did the numbers, and like, it was between a third and a half of the sales for that Teams class came from people on the Periscopes. And I did like a series of Periscopes leading up to the actual launch, or the day that I did the class live. So that's pretty good, I would say.
It absolutely is. I mean, and definitely, like, obviously, because we're friends, we've been sharing our strategies. So when Anne would have this, Anne had this, like, when Anne was launching this Teams call, I was, feeding her. I was trying to tip her off, like, let's talk about this right now. And I was dropping the links in, like, hey, people,
what's your Teams class about? When are you doing it? What's the link?
No, it wasn't things like that. It was like,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Like, what was I saying? It was things like, do you have to have a team currently to have this class? So I was helping her answer questions that other people weren't asking, which I thought were like legitimate questions that people would need to know.
And I think that's an awesome part of having your community on Periscope, is they kind of have your back. I mean, because when you're scoping and the hearts are coming and the comments are coming, it can be very distracting, especially for me, because, I have the attention span of a squirrel. But it's having somebody on there that knows you and knows your business. It really helps you to have them on there to, like, remind you, because I need to be reeled in sometimes. And that's one thing that I do love about Periscope, is the relaxed kind of, like, it's almost like a hangout.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was, yeah, for me, that's why I went on there, because I was like, it's like I could hang out with people and talk to them. So,
and sell them things. That would be awesome.
well, and sell them things, yeah, and and tell people about these great products that we have. That, I'll be honest, another thing that I really feel like me and Ann and Mandy don't do enough of is, I don't think we do enough of talking about our products. And this is something that I've been really thinking about, is that, like, I know that what I've got in empire building is really valuable to a lot of people. I've been told that. Ann and Mandy have both read through all of empire building, and I know that Ann, with all of her breadth of experience with launching, like, seriously, like, Ann worked on the initial B School launch. B School is now like a 7-figure. It launches at 7 figures. Like, they make over $1 million, probably 8 figures. Like, they probably make multiple million.
We did that in our second launch of B-School too.
They do like that.
They get with 6 figures, and then the next
so
7 figures.
like, I know Ann knows how to launch a 6, 7, 8-figure product. So, I don't think we do enough of talking about it. And I feel like, as women, this is a problem, that women do find it harder to sell. And I'll be honest, I have that stigma too, that, like, I feel like, oh, I don't want to be creepy car salesman. But, I found that all I have to do is share. Just tell people, hey, do you guys know that I've got this product? Do you know that it basically teaches you the exact steps and the exact strategies that I used to build my business? I find that I actually have a lot of followers who are regular followers who didn't even know I had empire building. It's like, you miss like 1 or 2 videos, and all of a sudden you don't realize that I sell something that might be valuable to you. So I think that was something that we kind of each have to get over, is like, we need to tell people more about what it is we're doing, because the stuff that we're doing is really valuable. And I know that, like, I put a lot of work into empire building, and put a lot of work into fearless launching. Mandy is putting a lot of work into her video media tribe. Like, this is something we're putting a lot of work into, and it's valuable, and there are people who need it. So it's our responsibility to share that with people in any way we can. And Periscope was a great way to do that.
Well, Alexis, let me piggyback on that before we go into the next question. Is, no matter what stage you are in your business, even if it's just blogging or starting something or thinking about something, I don't think you're going to get a faster response on who your audience could be than going on Periscope. I mean, yeah, you'll have a couple people in there that just, you have to block. But I would have never thought of where the 31 days of YouTube started to where it's going to be if it would not have been for Periscope. And I totally forgot to say that in my intro, is that's basically how I got started on Periscope. Was I did the 31 days of YouTube. And every night at 6 o'clock, we hung out for about an hour. And that's what really started building, my tribe and things like that. So no matter where you are in your business, even if you're just getting started or having ideas or thoughts, don't be afraid to start doing your market research with it, because it is so valuable. Learn that in empire building, by the way. Hashtag.
So, piggybacking on now off what Mandy was saying, now I can't remember because you said that thing. What were you just talking about? Oh, it's never too early. So yeah, absolutely. So again, there are 3 of us here. There are, 3 breadths of experience here. And I agree. I think that not only can having these Periscopes, talking to your audience, letting people know, like, hey, when you go on Periscope, a lot of times, a lot of the people that join aren't necessarily your followers necessarily. There's a lot of new people that come in there because Periscope is really searchable. It's really awesome how searchable it is. So you get a lot of people, and you have a lot of opportunity to say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. Here's my blog. Here's my YouTube channel, even if you don't sell anything yet. And I do think it's just from talking to people who are interested in the topic that you're covering, right? You may figure out, hey, there's a need in this audience for this type of product or this type of service, and I can give it to people. So absolutely what Mandy said, absolutely agree with that. It's a great way to not just do market research, really connect with an audience, and you may even be able to find your business the way that I found my business on YouTube from making planner videos. Like, I would have never been like, oh yes, let me share these designs that I'm making for myself, unless it was like literally thousands of people were like, can I please buy these? Where are they? Can we buy them? Like, can you sell these in your shop? And it's like, even now, I've got like people who are like waiting for the 2016 inserts to drop. I've been getting emails for 2016 inserts, I swear, since April. I'm like, 2016 isn't anywhere near April. Like, people are like, I want the new inserts. So, you know, this is something I fell into. And obviously from there, I realized new things that I was able to do, like empire building and charm DSLR, and like my productivity webinar, which is now back on the shop. If you guys did not get the productivity webinar, it is back in the shop. Just FYI.
Strangecharm.com/shop.
Yeah. So, anyway, so it really is. You know, it really is. You know, you can discover what your calling is just for talking to people and seeing how you can be helpful to a community. Can really help you find your calling and your business and your product or service that you're going to sell. So, next question I have. This is our last scripted question. Is what have you learned, or how has your strategy changed since you began using the platform? And again, we're going to start with Anne. And I know that each of us have had changes to the platform, so this is going to be really interesting to see, like, you know, after a few weeks and months of doing this, what we're thinking about now and how our strategy is going to change. Anne, take it away.
Well, here's the thing. So when I started doing these top threes, I honestly at first didn't know, like, why am I doing this? You know, is this really helping anybody? And probably the second week in, I got emails from people going, are you going to do any more top three? I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to keep doing those. So I started doing those, and I was doing those I started doing them just every day during a week, and then I went to 3 days a week. But something changed because I realized that my audience on Periscope had grown in 2 months what my Instagram had grown in a year, or 2 years more like. And I realized, you know, that would be really silly for me not to use this growth, not to use like the new contacts and people that I know now, even through Periscope, and do something more with the content. And I was finding it very difficult to just get on at 9 a.m. those 3 days of the week. Those are my good 3 days where I knew I could be on. And so now I'm trying to be a little bit more strategic and actually take a cue from Alexis's playbook and use one of those days with some really specific content. My cat is clawing at my door. I'm not even kidding you. And my daughter too. Anyways, so now I'm looking at it like, how much is this time? How much time is this actually taking? You know, I did change. I initially think I was going to put the videos up on YouTube as well, Alexis, but I decided not to, just because it felt really weird to put like a top three. How is that valuable to anybody? Maybe once, maybe twice, maybe if I do here's why you do your top three. That might be valuable, but I actually didn't find it really fit that well. So I've just decided that now I'm going to not take a step back, but really use those 2 other days during the week. Monday will be my top 3, and my 2 other days of the week will be more engaging, will be more specific content, will be more of the supportive content that maybe I do on the weekends. But honestly, I just like to do my scopes during the week. I'm not an every day of the week scoper. I don't find that that's necessary. And honestly, I do a lot of other content, just like you do. And so I feel like is there too much? And you know, this whole kind of strategy change really happened because I realized that I made a good percentage of sales on a completely new product that didn't have even a tested market, didn't even have a tested or validated customer. Like I wasn't even sure who was going to sign up for it, and I proved that people would, and they did it on Periscope. And I haven't found another platform that had such a high interaction rate that led to now, I mean, actually, I still need to turn it off on my shop and put up a link for the waiting list for those launch intensives. And those are not $100 or $50 sessions. Those cost a little bit of money. So to have people turn from Periscope coming like 3 times a week with me to then a week later emailing me and saying, you're one of my top 3, and I really need to find out, here's my business, will you work with me? You know, so now I realize that I need to use my valuable time to actually find more of those opportunities to connect with people that will end up either students, clients, or in some other way be helped by me. So, you know, obviously I think we're probably out loud to Alexis, and she's like, she got on really fast. And she was like, first of all, I hope you're not saying that you're going to be leaving Scope, because I think that would be a big mistake.
So I want to jump in real quick. So
it was a really great comment. I was like,
Okay, so Michael Hyatt is another business coach and entrepreneurial guy who is very famous within this kind of like online business community. He did a Periscope that Anne sent to me that was, he is quitting Periscope. So not quitting it entirely, but he basically realized that, again, he's someone who creates a lot of content, and he had gotten some feedback from people in his audience that basically said, you know, why are you creating so much, you know, interesting, valuable content on Periscope and giving it away for free? Why don't you, you know, you should really be spending your time like giving this sort of content to your paid audience, like people who are already paying to work with you, instead of giving it away for free. So he had a lot of really great reasons for getting off of Periscope. You know, not getting off entirely, but he's not going to do a scheduled Periscope event anymore. So Anne, that's what Anne's talking to. So Anne saw this Periscope, sent it to me, and then Anne was like, again, we process things out loud. Some of us are Italian, you know, so.
I'm not, but I still do it.
Yeah, that's the Pisces in you.
I guess so.
March 13th forever. Hashtag. So, yeah, if you guys don't know, Anne and I have the exact same birthday. Not the same year, but we're both March 13th babies.
March 13th, right
yeah,
there.
So this is what Anne's talking about. Anne, continue talking about that. Sorry, I just wanted people to have context for what we're talking about.
It's okay. So that's when, you know, this is how the biz besties, like, this is how we interact with each other. If we're like, no, you're not going to stop doing that. I mean, that's pretty much like, she gave some really great reminders to me about the audience, about the interaction on Periscope, and also is also good at reminding me of, and remember, the people that joined that class, remember, you know, this is how you got this, this, and this. You know, just, it was really important to get those reminders, even though I probably had already kind of processed past the I'm leaving Periscope, but still, it did really solidify, you know, I really do like it, and it's easy for me, and now I get to play and find another way to connect beyond just doing the top 3. So, you know, honestly, now I just feel like I'm going to be able to be a little bit more intentional, not have all my days just be focused on the top 3, though I will find a way to make sure I prompt people for those. And I already started doing that over on Instagram so that I don't lose that connection and people can still connect with me over there. So that's it for now, though.
Yeah, and just another thing I wanted to bring up with Anne, what Anne had been talking about when she was processing through the leaving Periscope thing. You know, Anne's following in Periscope is one of her larger social media followings. And like she said, she grew to beyond the size of her Instagram in just a few weeks, and Instagram had taken her a few years to accomplish. So Anne had a situation where, you know, Periscope really is one of her bigger platforms. So I didn't want her to leave something that she was having so much success with, especially since, you know, for all 3 of us, because we're in the business community and kind of like the coaching, consulting community, that community is really strong on Periscope. You know, and that was one of the reasons that I had joined Periscope, was for that community, because I wanted to expand with, you know, promoting empire building and things like that. So that was something to keep in mind with Anne's strategy. Periscope is a really big part of her social media now. Like, whether she likes it or not, Anne, it's one of your top players. So
it's one of my top 3. Just
you're stuck with it now. So. So Mandy, why don't you tell us, you know, what have you learned since starting your Periscope journey, and how's your strategy changed?
First off, I was being a social bee in the comments. And I do need to apologize for my light. We're having a bad storm, so my power's like cut in half. So I can only use like one light. I can't use my studio lights, so I'm sorry.
I just want to go like bow chicka wow wow.
I know. Like, why is it Oh, Red!
Brett's out of town and Mandy's throwing a party.
Bachelorette! I actually started Periscope with the 31 Days of YouTube, and every day I had a prompt. With the prompt, we would then talk about it at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we would discuss like what we did, what we found helpful, and just chat about it for about 45 minutes to an hour. And that, after the 31 Days of YouTube was done, all of us that kind of got together during that were kind of lost at what to do at 6 p.m. every day because we weren't connecting. So I funneled kind of that community into a Facebook group. And that's been really interactive. My intention at first was to scope almost every day. Now, I do have a 9-to-5 job. Well, I have like a when I get there to 4-ish job. So it's hard for me to scope during the day unless I do it during my lunch. And in the evenings, you know, I'm married. I have dogs, as you probably can hear. So it's hard for me to scope in the evenings sometimes. And the concern I had was with building my business, I don't have the content to use for Periscope, so I was creating content for Periscope. With that content that I was creating for Periscope, I felt like it was kind of taking away from what is coming up with my launches. So at first I was all gung-ho about Periscope. I loved it, and I still do love it. But I was gung-ho about it as my way of sharing my content, the content that I created. And I decided that that's not how I wanted to use Periscope anymore because I felt like I can't remember the gal who in the comments said that she can't catch the scopes live. And then with the 24 hours, they're gone. I don't post my Periscopes to my YouTube channel anymore because it is a quality thing, and some people will watch them, some people will not. It didn't make sense for me to take the time to post them to YouTube for a minimal amount of views. So I was like, my thought was, okay, well, I would just do like a private page on my blog and people could go up and check out that content. But what I decided I'm going to start doing is because I was getting ahead of myself when building my business. And I was like, I was here, but my content was like over here. And I felt like I was getting all of these ideas, and it was one, it was stressing me out, and two, I felt like I was giving myself away everything that I had. So I felt like, not that, you know, giving content away is bad and stuff like that, but I felt like I was selling myself short with that. And I love everybody. I love all the tribe members. I love everybody I connect with, but, you know, business is business too. So what I ended up doing now is I'm still going to scope. You know, I'm still going to hang out. I'm still going to have fun. I'm going to take my time and be more active on like Anne's scopes and Alexis's scopes because I enjoy those. And then I'm also going to do my scopes where I talk about the content from my YouTube channel because I will start releasing my video media tips, some of my blogging tips. Everything that's going to be related to the 31 Days of YouTube, or whatever I officially decide to call it, will be coming out. So I want to take that content and then use that almost like I did with the 31 Days of YouTube as a way for all of us to connect and talk about the content that I released. So I'm shifting focus. I'll be very honest. The sparkle of Periscope was kind of over for me for a little while. And it was because I got into my own head. And that's what happens in Mandyland. So I had to take a step back and decide how I really truly wanted to handle this. And I think that by me deciding what I want to share and using it more as an interactive way for all of us to hang out is how I want to focus my Periscope. So yes, am I going to leave Periscope? No. Did I build my Periscope? Yes, and I love Periscope. It's funneled people into my Facebook group. It's caused more people to go to my blog. My YouTube channel's up. It's done amazing things for me, and I'm very thankful for that. But I'm going to kind of shift a little bit how I do it, and I'm not going to feel so tied down that I need to be on there every single day after Anscopes. Because it wasn't fun for me for a little while because I felt like I had to do it. So I think that once I start releasing that content and I start making it fun again, that's what's really kind of put the sparkle back on it for me. Now, I am very social, so I love talking on Periscope. I could probably just sit down and talk for an hour on Periscope about random stuff, and we would have fun. But which we've actually, I think, done like once or twice. But that's part of the Mandy Jean chic of my business, is the fact that everything is fun here. Everything is positive. Everything is supportive. It's not like my Facebook group is, you know, you can give constructive criticism, but you better say something positive too. And it's the same thing on Periscope, and that's kind of how my business has been built. So I'm very fortunate for Periscope, and I love Periscope, but yeah, it's changed a little bit for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think that for a lot of us that it feels like it's changed, because I think a lot of us got on in the beginning because it was new, and there is always this opportunity you have whenever a platform is new, right? That you can be like an early adopter, and you can grow faster because of that. Like you can kind of master it, get your following, but definitely, you know, Periscope does have its challenges. Oh, absolutely.
And I think it's important also to involve with it with your business and not be afraid to say, okay, you know what, this isn't working for me. And it's not that I don't want to be interactive with the content that I create. It's just that I want to make sure that I'm doing it to the best of my abilities. Hey, my light's no longer red.
What has happened there?
Yeah, I did notice that.
I was like, I'm human color again.
You know what? I wanted to say something too about that. Like it's really weird because like on this Hangout, because I don't see the comments, it's like I'm not sure who I'm talking to. But the truth is that, you know, I definitely wouldn't want anybody to think I'm going to stop doing top 3 Periscopes because I got to sell more. Because that's not it. I actually just, there's so much more that I want to share. And I, you know, now that I feel like I've gotten to know a lot of the regulars, it's like I want to now share more for them. I want to share more with the people who come on a regular basis. I want to answer those questions. I want to, instead of making that stuff an afterthought, like, okay, top 3 is the most important, here's the afterthought, you know, and for me, it's definitely been, it definitely will be a balance, and definitely will be something I have to, that will evolve, you know, just like you, Mandy, just like you.
And all platforms evolve. I mean, like, look at me with YouTube. Like, when I was on YouTube, the ratio wasn't this long. It was like square. It was more square. You know, people weren't using, excuse me, Starbuck, I'm talking to people, okay?
Mommy is talking.
Mommy is talking, Starbuck. I know you can't hear them. And I know you don't know how to read the comments, but they are there. So, anywho, you know, definitely all platforms change and evolve, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how Periscope evolves. I mean, hello, we've only been on it for, he's fine, Mike, he can stay. He just wants my attention. So Mike came to the rescue, like, Starbuck, stop talking. So, you know, even in the few short weeks that we've been on Periscope, that it's been there for a few months, you know, they've already changed things. Now we've got the rotated orientation where now you can do the landscape, because Periscope realized that people were putting the videos onto YouTube and were reusing the video, and you know, the up and down video just was not that, you know, it wasn't that optimized, right? So there are going to be a lot of changes, I'm sure, with Periscope in the upcoming months and weeks, and you know, it's not going to stay the same, and therefore the way people are going to use it is going to change. So it's absolutely necessary, and I love what Mandy said about, you know, just because you started using it a certain way, and this goes for any platform, just because you started with one strategy does not mean that you can't change course. In fact, I heard this quote the other day, and I think I wrote it down somewhere, but I don't have it in front of me. It was something about, like, if, oh, you know what it was from? I think it had something to do with, like, one of the political debates or something, but someone said something of, you know, if someone had the exact same political views for 20 years, like for as long as they've been a politician, and they've never changed, I wouldn't trust them. because it meant that they never grew as a person. So by doing new things, you know, shifting course and shifting gears and changing your perspective, it is valuable because it does show that you're learning, that you are you are taking in new information and processing it and applying it to your life. Like, who wants to listen to a business owner who does the exact same thing, like day after day, week after week, year after year? You don't want, I wouldn't trust someone who their opinions have never changed and their strategy has never changed. Everyone's strategy changes and gets tweaked a little bit at a time. So that's an excellent point. And now we're going to have the coup d'etat of Periscope opinions and changes, because we're going to talk about how Periscope has changed for me and the way that I'm changing my strategy with Periscope as well. So going back to that that day that Ann shared with me, the Michael Hyatt Periscope, where he basically said he was quitting Periscope. I think, Ann, you sent me that because I had started talking to you about how I was not happy with Periscope, right?
Correct. And the second that you started bringing it up, I was like, wait a second.
She needs to watch the scope.
Talk about. Yeah, she needs to watch the scope.
Yeah. So basically, I have been having a love-hate relationship with Periscope. So Periscope, I think, has been wonderful. I've got over 1,500 people over in Periscope in a short amount of time. That's a wonderful amount of growth. And every time like I said, every time I go on Periscope, I make a few $100. And so I really have no complaints with it. However, my audience is not pleased with it. So with listening to that Michael Hyatt thing was a lot of an aha moment for me, because Michael Hyatt was talking about how, like I said, someone had talked to him and said, like, look, you're creating all this great content and you're giving it away for free. And like Mandy was saying earlier about, you know, she realized that she was giving a lot of great content away for free. You know, we do give so much away for free. Like, I don't think people understand that. And I honestly think that a lot of people take it for granted that I create 3 unique blog posts a week. I create at least one valuable, I think it's valuable, YouTube video, something to entertain and inform you. I post pictures on Instagram that I hope inspire people. Like, there's a lot of creation that goes into my business. And to be sitting and giving away all of your best secrets, it's almost like, why would anyone need to buy your product then? You know, as much as for some of us, you know, obviously for us, you know, for me and Ann, specifically because we have got these products that we're selling. And I'm sure Mandy's had this too, because I know, Mandy, you do your one-to-one video media coaching, and I know you found some people through Periscope as well, right?
You know, I have, and that's one thing when you were talking that I was like, oh, duh, is credibility is so important in business. And I think on Periscope, it does give you a little bit of, well, it gives you a lot of credibility, because you can't edit out something you say on Periscope. You can either delete the replay, but so you have to be on your game. And one of the things that when people have watched my scopes, when they contact me privately, that they've asked about with my video media coaching is confidence building. And Deb made a comment that, you know, when I said that Periscope wasn't fun for me, it's not that Periscope wasn't fun for me when I was on. When I was on, I loved talking to my friends. Like, Alexis, and you guys know that. But it was the content creating side of it that wasn't fun. And Deb had said that I did a good job of, you know, making it look like it was fun. And it is fun. So people take my fun attitude as confidence, which, okay. So they'll contact me on Periscope or via email for my video media coaching. And that's something I haven't even launched yet. But my success on Periscope is showing them the credibility that I have that I haven't even launched. So, yeah, sorry, Alexis.
No, it's good, because that's the thing we're talking about, though, is that, you know, giving away, there is a fine line that you walk when you're giving away so much content. And, you know, in Mandy's example, she was giving away content that, to be completely honest, I want her to put into like a book or a program or something, so that she can share it with more people, right? So put that effort into, you know, all that information that's really like the best strategies and things like that. And it's not about not sharing the best with your audience, because I would say that all 3 of us share all of the best things, but the pieces are all scattered, right? You're never going to get me to write a blog post that's essentially a watered down version of empire building, because then what would be the point of me selling you empire building? But there are pieces of empire building, like little nuggets of wisdom, dropped all over my blog and all over my YouTube and all over Periscope. So, you know, there is that fine line that you walk when you're creating a lot of content. So the problem I was having, however, going back to the Michael Hyatt thing, was that I create a lot of content, and I was seeing that some members of my community were unhappy with the fact that I was on Periscope and not on YouTube. So going back to what I said about Anne earlier, when Anne was thinking, oh, should I get rid of Periscope or downgrade Periscope? For Anne, Periscope is one of her bigger followings. For me, it's one of my smallest. So I already have, like, what is it, like almost 38,000 people here on YouTube following me. I've got 18,000 on Instagram. My blog gets 30 to 50,000 people a month. Although I have like 15 to 1,600 people on Periscope, and that's like a nice size following, that does not represent the vast majority of my community. So when I hear from my community that they thought I've abandoned YouTube, or that they feel like they don't like the fact that the Periscopes are only available for 24 hours, and you know, I like that the Periscopes are only available for 24 hours. I'll be completely honest with you guys, because number one, for me, like I said, that content is not I never had. There's only been a few instances where I've given completely original content on Periscope. For the most part, like I said, I've rehabbed old content to talk about it in video. So it wasn't like you couldn't find it's not like it was content that was completely unique. It was content that I actually had other places. So for me to be able to sit there for half an hour, 2 hours to deliver this content, and then at the end to roll it all into, you know, an opportunity for people to see the programs and the products that I create. And a lot of times I would actually give, like, I would go into Periscope and there would be some sort of deal going on, like when Empire Building was raising its price, right? I went on to let you guys know, like, hey, today's the last day to get Empire Building on sale. Like when I launched the planner kits for fall, those were special pricing for a limited time that I announced on the channel. So I liked having that only like that 24 hours, because to me it made me feel like the content wasn't living on forever. So it was okay if it disappeared, and it was okay if I reused it again, because it wasn't like permanently living out there. And it was okay with me because I really felt like I was trying to be completely honest, train people to go to my Periscope and watch the Periscope while it was there. I feel like there's a sense of urgency when you know that you only have 24 hours to watch content. And I feel like with my YouTube videos, especially my business ones, you know, my business videos don't do as well as a planner video does. And I totally know that, and I'm totally okay with that. However, there is this, you know, the sense of urgency that it's going to go away. Like if I told you guys that one of my business videos was going to go away all of a sudden, I bet you a bunch of you if you haven't seen it, you might go over and watch it before it went away, because you want to get all the nuggets of wisdom out of that video before it went away. So to me, I liked that. But my audience didn't. And it wasn't all of my audience, and I would never ever suggest to anyone to listen to just a handful of audience members and do what they say. But in this situation, especially after hearing Michael Hyatt's argument as to why he was leaving Periscope, it made sense that I really should be taking this content, and because I've been treating Periscope like an easy webinar tool, like essentially I just get in front of you guys, have notes, talk, and give a webinar, I've decided that what I'm going to do is, instead of going on Periscope regularly, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but I was going on every Tuesday at 4 Eastern, and I didn't do it yesterday, and that's because I think going forward now, instead of doing a Periscope every week, I think that like a few times a week on Wednesdays again, I'm going to actually do more of these Google Hangouts instead of going onto Periscope. That way, the formatting is right. That way, I can actually have Periscope conversations, and I can invite more people. I can even get on with, you know, people here in the audience. Like if someone wants to get on live with me and ask me a question, or I can give them one-to-one feedback, I'm still able to do this, and this all exists permanently. The only thing that goes away with this scenario is all of your comments. That's the only thing that goes away. all of the content remains, and it's much more authentic this way than Periscope. Could you guys imagine if we were on Periscope right now? It would be like I'd be answering questions like left and right. I wouldn't be able to get a whole sentence out. So I am going to stop using Periscope the way that I was using it, even though it was creating that sense of urgency and people were buying, because I'm going to see if I'm able to draw in a crowd here and talk about my business stuff here. And if I could get that same level of following, the 1,500 people, I had several hundred people that would go onto my Periscopes. I think like I would get like 120, like anywhere from like 60 to 120 people on a Periscope, and I would get sales. So I'm going to see if by upping these Google Hangouts on my channel, if I have the same result, then I'll stick here. And I also have the added benefit that I'm going to be able to do things for you guys that I've promised that I was going to do but have not figured out how to execute them, like doing things like tutorials on the computer, or like how I, use Photoshop, right? Like if there's a program I want to show you guys, I'll be able to do it. I can share my screen with you guys right now, and we would be able to do a tutorial live. So I'm going to still use this live broadcasting aspect because I loved it. I loved having something that was really quick and easy. Like all I had to do was do my hair and makeup, have my notes ready, and I got on. So that is what I'm planning on doing now, is adding in more live Google Hangouts into my channel. So probably like every other week I'll do a live Hangout, but it could be more, it could change, but that's what I'm going to do. So when I go on Periscope now, it's going to be sporadically, and it's probably going to be more like seriously just vlog stuff. Like, hey guys, I bought this stuff and I wanted to show you a haul, right? Because that's content I never put on YouTube, right? Like you guys know, I don't do hauls on my YouTube channel. I don't show you beauty products. I don't show you guys recipes anymore, things like that. So I can go onto Periscope now and I can show you that sort of lifestyle stuff that I would not normally put on my YouTube, because for strategic purposes, I don't want to, like I said, all of my content, the way that I'm trying to create it and corral it for you guys on YouTube, I'm trying to bring you guys a certain level of professionalism. I'm trying to bring you guys a certain level of content and quality. I'm trying to make my videos, if you guys have noticed, a little bit shorter than they used to be. Like they're no longer a half hour. I'm trying to like get them to like top off at like 20, 25 minutes if I can get it to happen. And if I can do like a sub 10-minute video, that's awesome, because I really want to make sure that when you guys come to this channel, you're getting value, you're getting what you're expecting, and I'm not wasting your time, because that's the last thing I want to do, is waste your time showing you BS that doesn't make sense. Like, I know it's fun for, like, if I do like a makeup tutorial, I know a lot of people want to see my fashion. Someone asked me if I would start doing like outfit of the days on YouTube, and I'm like, that will never happen, because I don't know what you guys see from the chest up, but I'm not a fashionable person. So that's not going to happen. But maybe it'll happen on Periscope. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll show you guys myself doing a makeup tutorial on Periscope. Like, I can do more on Periscope, and the embarrassment is only there for 24 hours if it didn't go so well. So that's how I'm planning to use Periscope going forward. So yeah, that is it for me. So girls, anything else you want to add to that?
I just have to say one thing, Alexis, and that is that I think the key with all of this is that you're testing. You're going to see if it works. You like the interaction part of it, and you're going to try to bring that same kind of feeling in here. You won't have the hearts, but, I mean, you can still do all the other calls to action and having people share it and all that, and I think that testing is what it's going to be all about, and it's up to you. And that's exactly what I'm doing, too. You know, I'll see. And honestly, I probably won't be able to let go completely of doing these top threes. I thought I wasn't going to be able to do it today. I thought I was just going to do something different today. And I get on and I'm immediately talking about my top three. So for me, it's going to be a hard kind of shift to make as well. So it's all about just testing.
Absolutely. And that's, like I said, unless you're changing course and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work, you're never going to grow. You're never going to get to the ends that you want. So that is exactly like you said. We had 3 different perspectives today. We had 3 different ways to use Periscope, and we had 3 different ways that people are now changing the way they're using Periscope. So I think this is very...
kind of chime in on something, Alexis. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
If someone loves Periscope and you want to do Periscope, and you have so much fun with it and you love the engagement of it, don't quit just because somebody says, hey, I want to do this a little bit different. Because stay true to what you want to do. Now, you know, Anne, there's no way I would go visit Anne if she said she was leaving Periscope. I'd be like, well, who am I going to tell my top 3 to then? Who's going to hold me accountable? But I understand the shift. So what I want to make sure is that everyone knows, if you love Periscope and you're having success with it, you measure your success yourself. Just because you don't have, you know, 20,000 subscribers on Periscope, or you're not getting 500 views per scope, that doesn't mean it's not successful. If you love it, it's successful. So, I mean, that's the biggest thing, because I know I jumped on that when people were bashing blogging thing, and I flat out said in a scope, don't quit something you love. And I want to make sure that, because we did have 3 different, well, I don't want to say very different opinions, but 3 different opinions and 3 different strategies, that if you don't fall in line with one of those 3, it's not the end-all be-all. I mean, as much as I love Alexis's and Anne's opinions, and I value them, and I consider these 2 girls my business besties, I also have my own opinion. And I want to make sure that I empower other people to make sure that they stay true to their opinion. If you're kind of antsy about it and you're not sure which direction you want to go, don't be afraid, like Anne said, to test the water, because that's the only way you're going to know if what you're doing is successful.
Absolutely.
And honestly, you know, I'm so
no,
sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go.
Well, I just wanted to say, I think it's never a mistake when you're first starting out, when you're first building your audience, when you're first just getting your feet wet, to dive in to something like Periscope. And even if, you know, you have 100, 200 people following you for months, you're getting in front of 100, 200 people that you weren't in front of yesterday. So I do think that it is super valuable for anybody first starting out, just building their tribes. And, you know, the thing with, I know, Mandy, we called you the duckling in the water, but you still have a following on YouTube. You do have a tribe, and your tribe is actually, you're not an uber beginner. So I do think someone who's just beginning, doesn't have a lot of tools at their disposal, doesn't have a lot of people, like, you know, this is a perfect place to just get your feet wet and get in there.
Yeah, my tribe is a little protective of me.
And I don't think, and that's why I think this is coming up now for all of us too, is that we are, each person hits this point in their business where you're kind of evaluating what time you have, what time you want to spend on your business, where's the value for you in your whole life. And for me, like, even right now, even being on this, like, I couldn't do a Periscope at this time normally because my daughter's outside, she and my husband, I thought that they were getting dinner situated. There's some drama happening, but I'm just ignoring it because Daddy is home and she is being supervised, in theory. So I just think that you just have to do what works for you. And for some people, for moms especially, home with a baby, your kid's asleep, go to town, you know, get on Periscope. That's all I wanted to say, though.
No, absolutely. And you guys know that I said this before, and I said this in my, you know, that should you blog video, right? Mm-hmm. When it comes to should you do anything, right? It all comes down to, if it's something you're interested in and that you want to use and you want to have fun with, then absolutely do it, you know? So that's, again, going off what Mandy said and what Anne said, this is, you know, that really is what it comes down to. And like Anne said, when you are just starting out, that is the time to experiment the most. You know, a lot of times, even when you have, like, you know, a bigger following, it's sometimes changing things is risky. Mm-hmm. It can get risky. Like, for me, it's a little bit, I have, not to say that I'm, like, afraid, because I know everything's going to work out, but, you know, when I went to Periscope and people were like, where have you gone from YouTube? I was like, crap, did I just mess up my YouTube? And I'm like, people, I'm there. Like, you can see me every week, sometimes twice a week. But, you know, and a lot of that, me not being on Periscope, actually also on YouTube and going to Periscope, actually did have coincided, as like Anne and Mandy know, with the whole me. I was just in a really busy season at the end of the summer with launching a few different things, like one after another. And finally now, I was actually at that time, I was like, oh, I don't want to have to do 2 videos. So now, actually, I've gotten back to the place, I think I said it maybe to one of you, and maybe both of you, that I'm like, I feel like I feel more empowered to make videos now. Okay, so I did tell both of you. Okay, good, because you're both raising your hand like, oh, Alexis had this conversation with me. I feel like at this point now that like Charm DSLR took up all of September. I had no energy. I was for anything else. It was like there were so many things going on from July. Like I moved, I launched my new planner stuff. I did the productivity webinar. I did Charm DSLR. There was one thing after another that totally was taking me away from having the energy to do videos. And now it's just come back to me. So now I'm like, okay, I'll go back to doing 2 videos a week. This works. This is fine because I'm not spending all of my time creating a product. So it also goes to like, how much time you've got, So going back to my original point, which was it's risky when you have a bigger following, right, to change things up. But, I feel like as long as you're honest with people, like I'm coming on here telling you guys, look, I tried Periscope. It was an easy way for me to create content while I was really busy creating some products. And now it's like, okay, I listened. I'm not gonna create content that you guys don't get for more than 24 hours if it's super valuable. And that's my course correction, right? So I haven't really heard anything, but there's always a risk when you're bigger. So when you're smaller, you can take all the risks. You can dabble in all of the social media that you're interested in and see which one sticks. It's like throwing spaghetti at the wall. See what sticks to the wall, So, okay. Now, I know Mandy wrote down some questions. I wrote down a question that I saw. We're going to do the open Q&A. So, Mandy, did you have questions from earlier?
Tori asked if you should put your Periscopes on YouTube. And I know Alexis and I, we have pretty much the same opinion on that. But, Alexis, why don't you say what you think?
Yeah, so I think I already touched on this a little bit in the beginning, which was I think that it doesn't work for me. Mm-hmm. It's not for me. And the reason is because if you look at the content that I normally produce on YouTube, I'm normally using a DSLR camera with a nice lens. Like my videos normally look really awesome. Like they're really great quality. So when you contrast that with a replay of a broadcast on your phone, your phone is a great tool to use to vlog and things like that. Like iPhones now, the video quality is great, but it's not wonderful on when you're coming through the Periscope. So for me, it doesn't make sense to put subpar content onto my channel that normally has great content. But if you've got a channel that's just sitting there, right, and you're not really creating for it, absolutely put your stuff on there if that's what you want to do. As long as it makes sense for you. For me, it didn't make sense because to me it was like I was putting a half-assed video onto YouTube, and that's why I was like, you know what, I'd rather just not put it on, and if people miss it, people miss it. And so now that I'm moving on to maybe I won't be doing Periscopes as often, the content now, when I do put content onto YouTube, I can, again, it'll rise to the level of quality that's acceptable to me. So it really has to do with your situation, Tori. If you aren't creating a lot of content and you think that putting the Periscope video is on there is works, absolutely do it. Then do it. Or what you could also do, and this is something I thought about doing that I never did, if you're sitting at home filming these Periscopes, you could technically take out a nicer camera and video yourself while you're on Periscope and then use that content, use that video. So that's just something else to think about. So it just depends. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you hear that. Good. Awesome. So I hope that helped.
Well, go ahead, Ann. No, go ahead. You first.
No, because I knew that I don't have a different point of view, but I do think that I think that putting them on your channel is fine, but I like exactly what Alexa said at the very end, and this is what I've been thinking about for my podcast, because that is something that I do spend time on every week. But I do think if you're going to do if you have, let's say, your other channel is your YouTube or it's a podcast, be recording it for the. That looked really bad just now. Oh my God. I'm a mom.
Oh my God, I'm so glad that was actually, well, I did that vulgar action. I made the weirdest noise, in my throat.
Muted. Oh my God, that's
muted. I sounded like a drunk trucker, I'm pretty sure, so I'm really glad that I was muted. I'm
I
drunk.
can take these two anywhere. Like, and everyone wonders that if I'm the one that's like the wild child. Oh no, it's these two.
I'm juvenile. Like anybody does something remotely disgusting, and I'm like, anyway. So I do think that moving forward, what I want to do is not necessarily put them on YouTube, though I think it's a great idea. It's just for me, it was difficult because I didn't like the orientation, the portrait orientation, and I may at some point do a YouTube video. But I want to know, will it clash with the other videos on your channel? Tori, because I know you do a specific style of videos. So is it going to clash with those? Can you call it a series? Can you call it something else? Obviously, these are my scopes, whatever. You know, so maybe that's the playlist. But I think, obviously, it's up to you. It's not necessarily a bad decision, I think. And I'm all for repurposing. And that is all.
Well, and I agree with you, Anne. The reason why... Is my mic on? Okay, it is on. I'm like, wait a minute here. The reason why I shifted, because I was like, first, oh, everything should go on YouTube, you know, use your content, you should put it up there. And then I got thinking about it. If I have a very successful scope, I bet the video would be more successful if I sat down in front of my nice DSLR, did the content, created a free printable, or put it in some type of a series, and really use my content in a more effective way than just me talking off the cuff and sounding like a valley girl. Because it happens. With me, like, I'm very conversational in my style, and I like to laugh, and I like to have fun, but on YouTube, I still keep that to a point, i.e. when I just did my first intro that said, hey everybody, it's Mandy Jane Chic, and I just woke up from a nap. Like, Alexis, like, that's the kind of stuff that I like to do because I like people to have fun, but if I create like smoking hot content, I want it to be a really good video. And sometimes, you know, getting distracted with Periscope and answering questions and saying hi to your friends and, you know, thanking people for coming, you then end up editing, pardon my language, a half-butt video that the content in is great, where if you, I still censored myself, where if you create the video with your DSLR, you have your points, you can create a really nice video. And you already have people who may rewatch the video to see what else you've added. Again, Periscope is a way of testing out a market and testing out content. Anne, are you writing that down?
I just wanted to bring up, this is something that I actually did do, like with my last Periscope video, right? Which was, oh no, what has she done? That video. That should you blog, right? So I did a video on a Periscope on should you blog, and people liked it so much, and I saw the value in it that I was like, you know, I need to film this as a full video, because it was something where, like, I created, like Mandy said, I created a printable for people for it, and it was something where it was something that really, really, it was actually, that was like probably a situation where it was kind of more of a new content. I hadn't actually ever created content like that before. So it was important for me to solidify it with like a more permanent video. So absolutely.
Well, so and as somebody who loves video media is so important. And having with your YouTube channel, people are kind of funny about who they subscribe to sometimes. And I mean, if people are really going to look at your channel and they're going to want to see the content that you've produced, and if you're showing, you know, 7 scopes that are 50 minutes long, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to engage with that. But if you have a video that, oh, we're going to see Starbucks. But if you have a video that, oh, and he's even branded. But if you have a video, like, for example, Alexis's blogging video, Should You Blog, she was able to really fine-tune that into a really great video.
He's wearing his hoodie. His striped hoodie. Oh, boo. I think I was whacked him in the eye. Sorry about that, Starbuck. And this is the dog clothes that I got him. Remember? I think I was talking to Anne.
From that place with the TP? From the place with the TP, yeah. That amazing TP.
And he's got a whole bunch of like he's got a black and white striped shirt. Now he's got a hoodie that's half black, half white with a black and white hood. He doesn't like the hood though. He said, "I'm no hood rat, Mom."
My mom is crazy.
Yeah, she's crazy.
But he loves his mom.
He does. He loves his mommy.
So the second question that I that I wrote down was from Rachel, and she said, "Are there regular times for scoping?" And I think a lot of people do regular times, like Anne and Alexis, you used to. That's something that, unless it was in the evening, having a full-time job, I couldn't do. So I think that that's also something where, no one really knew when I was scoping. Everyone was just like, "Oh, Mandy's on, great, awesome," and then they would come on.
Yeah, and that's something I've told people to do is, I don't think you have to have a regular scoping time. I don't think you do, because scoping is so impromptu. Although it made it easier for me to have a regular scoping time, and Anne had like a general schedule. I don't know if you always got on at the exact same time every day, but it was like about,
No.
It was
It's around 9 o'clock Pacific.
Yeah.
But again, even that has been difficult for me to keep because Mila's were running late for school, or I'm watching my in-laws' house and feeding their cat, and it's like this whole thing. And there was one morning where I was like, "This is insanity," and I just didn't even want to do it, but I ended up still doing it. But yeah, so I try to keep the same time. But now moving forward, I don't have to.
Yeah, and I think that that's something that's up to you. If it's easier for you to schedule it and let people know that this is my regular scheduled time. If not, I don't think there's anything wrong with giving people a heads up like a few hours earlier on other communication methods. So that's what I used to do. I would put something up on what was it? Instagram to tell people that I was on Periscope. What happened? What is she laughing about?
No, I'm sorry. I forgot my mic wasn't turned off, and Deb said, "I don't think Hank will ever come on video with a patterned hoodie." He actually has plaid pajamas that we make him wear when we go to the tree lighting in Uptown, and everybody wants to hug the Bloodhound. And by the end of it, he's just like, "Peace out, people."
Just leave me alone.
All over.
Yeah, so I think we know we're doing this, right? So everyone agrees?
Yeah.
With that, yeah. Okay, is there another question, Mandy?
One more question that I got before you started writing them down, and that was from Christina Love. She said, "What if you don't sell a service, but you sell a product?" And I just wanted to say that in the comments, we had responded and said, some different ideas. And she had made a comment that the reason why I wrote it down was she said, "Well, I don't think that my behind the scenes is interesting or such and such is interesting." And I wanted to say, you would be surprised what people find interesting.
You would be surprised what people say is interesting. Now, I think Christina said that she makes like nursery light switch covers, right? So I told her in the comments to, maybe she could do a video of like her making them, right? Like recording herself while she's creating them. People love seeing artistic processes and things like that. And I also said, if your brand is for children's things, like nursery things, do some nursery hauls, like do some more content that relates to your topic. So whatever it is that you sell, can you show a behind the scenes, right? That's a question you want to ask yourself. Can you show other related items that have to do with your, like if you're someone who sells a planner, right? You could show like a haul of other planner goodies, right? You could also just do a scope where you show your new collection, like unveiling my new fall collection, like how I did my fall planner collection on Periscope, and that probably had some of them. I think I had one of the highest views of all of my videos on that one.
That's because you sang to us.
Yeah, I did sing.
You were staring at you were like, "Must buy the sticker set."
But I think you're right on, Alexis. I think it's about kind of creating like a bigger picture. It's not just about that one product. It's like somebody who's interested in buying that product is obviously interested in a whole slew of different things that you don't have to sell them. You can talk about your, what did you say that she makes? The
light switch covers for nursery.
Light switch covers. Yeah, no, I mean that you could think of a myriad of different topics related to that. So if they're light switch covers, is it safety? Are they safety related? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
or are they just to decorate the nursery? So I mean, there's definitely a lot of topics around that. I don't, and again, I actually like the direct sell, the direct come on and be like, "Oh my gosh, this is what I've got," and I want to just tell you, go and look at. I mean, I know that there are different products and everything, but this woman who I talked about today, you probably remember when I was talking about her. Her name is Camila Prada. She has these little objects that she creates, and she didn't think, even though her products are very cute, very photo worthy, she would basically get on Facebook and just start showing herself, making them, showing the process, showing the plant where she wanted to eventually make them all, and even showing broken ones. And honestly, she grew her audience like that. She grew her audience just by sharing what was going on. She wasn't trying to sell anything.
And I think it's by being real and personable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the one thing that I love about Periscope is you're getting that instant interaction. Just like right now. I mean, we're laughing, we're having fun, we're responding to the comments. It's engaging. It's the same as Periscope. And I think that when you're trying to build or find a tribe, that's such a great way. Deb did say that, should I use platforms like Periscope to start talking about what I want to offer to help people even before I have products?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, why it's never, like we said before, it's never too early to start. Why wouldn't you build up the community now? And that's the thing that actually, one of the reasons I think that I had such good success with my planner insert business and even empire building and, all of my other my other products is because I had thousands of people subscribe to me before I ever even sold a thing. So if you already have them and then you start selling something to them, oh yeah, it's going to be, you're going to launch better. You're going to have a better initial launch because you have people already in your community following you that want the thing that you're about to launch. So absolutely, there's never an opportunity where you shouldn't be building a following, especially if you know you want to have a business.
And
Absolutely.
that's exactly what I'm doing. And Deb, I mean, that's something that Deb and I both have in common. And that's why I'm being more selective with Periscope now, is because I'm like right there. I'm on the brink of launching. And I've talked about my YouTube stuff since August. And that's what really has engaged a lot of people with me and with my video media coaching and with my YouTube stuff and my confidence in video, is because I started talking about it way before I was ready to launch. So, Alexis, did you write down some questions that I didn't?
Yeah, there was another question I got that was from Caitlin, who wanted to know how you use Periscope to make connections as a viewer. Mm-hmm. And her specific situation was that she wants to review planners, but she hasn't had any success with talking to the planner companies, I guess, to get samples. Okay, so this actually goes into what we were just talking about with the whole building a connection with people, building a community. Even if you want your business to be reviewing planners, right? You're never going to get anyone to send you a planner for free to get a sample so that you can start doing it until you've got the following. So it's one of those situations where it's almost like a double-edged sword that in Caitlin's situation, she might have to start buying some planners, to be honest, in the beginning, to start to get her following up. And then once her following's up, people will then start selling her, giving her things for free. And that's with anything, not just planners. Anything where you're trying to do a review-based business, you're going to want to make sure that you are building up your community. But
and that's a credibility thing. I mean,
yeah.
You have to show what you can do before someone's going to invest in that.
Absolutely. And then the other part of that was how to make connections as a viewer. So the thing I would suggest is that really I think you make better connections as a content creator because it positions you as being that person who is that like authority figure, that expert. But there are situations, and I think all of us know that there's like people who are on Periscope who don't do Periscopes. They're just like professional Periscope viewers. Like the one I can think of off the top of my head is that guy Ethan.
Yes.
That guy's on every Periscope.
Swear to God, he's on every business person's Periscopes. Okay?
And people now know him by name.
Correct. And he's got a following because he watches other people's. Now, I don't know what Ethan does, right? I don't really know. But
I don't think anybody knows.
Nobody knows. But he definitely is someone who's made a name for himself in the comments section. So, that's always something, being active on people's scopes that are related to you. Like if you were a planner person and there's other planner people online, if you want to be active in their community, that'll definitely help you because people will recognize your name when you do start doing your own Periscopes. But I would say the best way is always to be the creator. You always want to do that. But you definitely, while you're building up your following, you definitely want to be that person who's doing their scopes and going on other people's scopes and saying, hey, I have a scope too on this topic that I just did. Like, you'll be able to, while you're being active and being helpful in the comments, you're also going to be able to draw people into your community, and that's the way that you build community. And I've told you guys the same thing with YouTube. That's the same thing for how you use YouTube or other platform. That's like just an essential.
Because Deb's awesome, but
She is. We love her.
we love Deb because Deb's the one that drops all of our links in.
More than that. Bit.ly / charmed this. Deb, can you just drop that?
I don't think Alexis and Ann are on here, so hey Deb, why don't, if you're there? But no, and that's something where she's engaged in different communities by being somebody who is active. And you know what? When she starts doing her Periscopes, which I saw she's going to start doing in the comments, might want to follow her, is that people are going to know her, and they're going to be tickled to death to see her face and to hear her voice, and she's already building that. So I think that's awesome. Tazzie's one who did the same thing. As soon as she started doing her couple scopes before she got sick, she had people who were like, hey, you were on Mandy's a lot. You're really helpful. I wanted to see your content.
I miss Tazzie. I'm sorry, I have to say that out loud. I miss Tazzie.
She's sick, but she's feeling better. I'll send you she's fine. But the thing is like it's not a bad thing to start off as a viewer or someone who is almost like a support system in a channel, because you're I don't want to say interjecting yourself, but you're making your presence known. Now, right. I think there's a good way to do it, and there's a bad way. There's a bad way for when Ann's scoping for me to go, hey, Ann, hey, Ann, hey, Ann, hey, Ann, hey, Ann, hey, Ann. You didn't say my name. Hey, Ann. Hey, like that is just like, oh, my goodness, I saw you there. Love ya.
Yeah, I mean, if you want people to give you a shout-out, not bugging them would be a good way to get a shout-out. And another good way shout out would be actually to help people. So like if you're that person who's dropping in the link, right? I'm more apt to say thank you, Deb, for leaving that link. You know what I mean? Or if I see that there's questions that people are asking and you're someone who knows me, Deb does this all the time, which is why Deb's a great example. When I'm talking about empire building, she'll be telling people like, oh, someone will say like, is this part of empire building? If I'm on like my own rant right now talking about something specific, Deb will jump in and say, yes, this is part of empire building, I'm part of an empire building too. Like, she'll answer people's questions. And then what happens, once I'm done talking, I go, thanks, Deb, for helping those people. Like, that's how you get your name out there, is when people say it, not because you've been like, oh, hey, you forgot to shout me out. Like, hey, I'm over here waving my arms in the internet, like, look at me. Like, that's not what you want to do. You want to be adding value to people's community. That's how. I
just read what she wrote. But anyway, but I have to say that like that is actually, it's just like you're being helpful, you're answering questions, and who do you think? As soon as we know you have a Periscope, I mean, I already do this with Mandy Jean, with MissTrenchcoat. I do this all the time to people who I know who are on there. I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to follow her. She just started doing scopes. They're all about this. You have a built-in system of people who are going to promote you. So
absolutely. I'm like, don't think that when Deb starts making her videos, we're going to know, and we're going to be like sharing them, right? And we're going to be like, another video by Deb. Wait, what did you say, Ann?
I'm like, we're gonna know. We will know, Deb.
We will see, and we will share it.
So she's never gonna do it now.
Deb, do it. We'll all retweet it. We'll all share.
But I think that with, like, for example, Deb, I love you, and that's why I love saying you as an example, because my husband's watching this. Oh my gosh. But having somebody where I can say, like, if I'm going, when I announced my video, my YouTube planner, I got immediately nervous thinking my husband is watching me right now. Like,
Brett, don't forget to subscribe, Brett, and give this a like. Thank you.
Before I go take my nap. But when I get ready to launch my planner, I know I could say to Ann or to Alexis or to Deb or to anybody, hey, if I get sidetracked with comments, would you mind popping this link in for me? if someone asks for it. And that is such a valuable tool that I think gets overlooked in Periscope, is having your tribe and your besties who are active in your community, and not like somebody had made a joke that I was Alexis's scoping assistant, and I was like, oh, no. I'm like, I just know her.
We all are though, because
exactly.
When we're gonna do a big scope, don't you think I say, hey Mandy Jean, hey Ann, I'm doing a big scope. Here's the links, all the links you need. So when I say go to bit.ly/this, you've got them. So
yeah,
like
they're already in my clipboard.
They're already in the clipboard, like ready to be pasted in. So it's good though. But like if you want to establish yourself as that person for someone else, like Deb has, it's only going to get you more support from other people. Like people love that. So yeah, have a business bestie get on and make sure that they're dropping your links, because you can't do it.
Deb, Brett will not comment on this because he's shy, but he wanted me to say, hey Deb, thanks for, what did he say? The Brett fan club.
Yes, there's a Brett fan club. So wait, I just see a question popping up by Clarissa that says, how are you ladies approaching consistency with scoping? Could you give us a little bit more specificity on that? What do you mean by consistency? Because like, you know, we all talk about specific topics, and I don't know if you missed the beginning, Ann talks about her top 3 Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Mandy Jean normally runs like a series where she has like prompts that she's doing, and I was doing like business related content, and my consistency, I guess, is that, you know, the content I was sharing was business related, and it was Tuesdays at 4. So what are you specifically asking with that? And if anyone else has any more questions, let us know, because we're nearing 2 hours, and I feel like, you know, I have the bladder of, I don't know, what has a small bladder? Are good at storing water.
By the way, I do think consistency can mean time, can mean content, can just mean that you're showing up. You can choose like a few different things that you might, because I've seen definitely people like Coach Glitter talk about, she has like her makeup tutorials, but then she'll have her more coaching, life coaching kind of things that she does on there. But she usually does one or the other. So I think that you can just pretty much choose what you want to do. And I tend to, up to this point, I have not done a lot of launching scopes because I got plenty on my blog. I got plenty content of that on my blog. And if I do talk on Periscope about something, it's likely something that exists in a deeper form somewhere else.
Okay, so Clarissa got back to us. She was saying, to build a following, do you need to scope every day? I would say no. But I do. But the more you scope, I think the more you will get more of a following. Yeah. So long as you're not diluting your content by scoping too much. If you're going on once a day and you're doing great content, like adding value, answering questions, giving feedback, helping people, yes, you will grow. If you're going on BSing it, like just to create filler, that's not going to help you grow. But if you can go on every day and be consistent, absolutely. If you can go on Monday, Wednesday, Friday and be consistent, absolutely do that. If you can only do it once a week. I was only doing it once a week. Now, granted, I know that one of the reasons my following grew so quickly is because I have big followings in other places, and I was telling people to go to Periscope. But if you are starting off from scratch, the best way to create a following is through unique content.
Mm-hmm. And being on every day, I mean, that's something that like one of the guys on Periscope who teaches about it, Zach Spuckler, one of the things that he talks about is that, you know, you do like that every single day for a while just to kind of ramp things up, to kind of kick things off. And then you can like settle into your natural like best times.
And Deb just made a good point that people that scope 5 times a day get unsubscribed by me. Me too. Yeah. I cannot stand.
I can't handle it.
If you scope all the, I do honestly get annoyed though. Like, I think once a day is fine.
Yeah.
But once there are some people who I feel like go on multiple times a day, and I'm like, why? Just say it all in one time once a day. Like, it's just too much alerts from the same person, and especially if I'm not someone that, if it's someone where I maybe will only watch a couple of your scopes because a couple of them sound interesting, I'll drop you, because it's not, if you're not consistently delivering the content that I'm interested in, then I'm dropping you. Now that's just me. Like maybe there's someone out there who, maybe that means that, like, obviously it means that person, I'm not their ideal audience. Mm-hmm. But I do think that there's a level of overdoing it.
And I
Yep.
think, like with me with the 31 days of YouTube, I had a reason to scope every single day. Now, I really don't have that reason. So for me to scope every single day, it's a lot. And it is hard. I mean, it's hard to do every single day. With 31
Doing anything every day is hard.
I know, naps every day. What happened to that?
Brushing your teeth.
Oh, I was talking more about
Just kidding.
blogging, right? So like I blog 3 times a week. There's some people that blog every day or multiple times a day. I cannot do that. Like that's not going to happen.
And Svetlana said she unsubscribed from several scopers because they were spamming my phones with their scopes notifications. Exactly. And that is a big, I don't want to say problem, but a tactic in Periscope is like your phone's constantly going off. And I can only hear that gosh darn bird tweet at me so many times.
I ended up turning it off.
I know.
I was missing your scopes. Actually,
I miss everyone's.
I was like,
that's why we have to tell
you
each other
on?
what's
How did
going
that
on.
happen?
This is what ended up happening. I would send Anna a message like, I'm going to scope probably in like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, and then I'd scope like 45 minutes later. And then I would tell Alexis, I'm going to scope probably in like 5, 10 minutes, if you're available. Because we all did. We shut our phones off. Because it's like, you can't, it's too much.
In the beginning, it was fun, but now there's so many people doing it so many times a day. It's like, I can't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I can't handle all the scoping.
Yeah. All the scoping cannot handle all the things.
So, okay. So, are there any other questions before we go off? Anyone have any other questions? I know there's a little bit of a delay, so we'll just wait for like a second to see if there's any questions. Someone's got pictures going on. I just checked my phone and I saw that raccoon in a bathtub. Just want to let you guys know. I just checked that.
No, this is actually so I can see the chat finally. Before I wasn't seeing it. Deb, thanks for all your comments.
Now seeing the
Deb,
chat.
thanks for all your comments because I didn't see them. Like, your random quips about things. So I really appreciated seeing those.
So, okay. So while we're waiting for someone, let's just go ahead and maybe just do our outros real quick, right? So if there's another question, we can just answer that real quick. But I think we might be getting to the end here. It's been 2 hours. And
Well, there's also, if you have questions later on,
yeah, you can absolutely leave the questions in the comments once we're done, and we come back and check this stuff. So, thank you for joining us. Let me give Ann a chance to do her outro and where you can follow Ann, and Ann, let us know how people can get in touch with you.
All right. Well, guys, this is awesome. I love this conversation. I feel like it was a great idea, Alexis, to bring us just all together and just do it with you guys, with everyone, instead of just us on voice memos with our little monologues.
I love doing it with everyone.
And I know. I did.
That's what she said. That's what she said.
That's what she said. Boom, boom. Anyways, if you guys are interested in learning more about launching on that part of the process and even just getting ready for that, even if you're just starting your business, you guys can check me out at annsamoilov.com. I think that it may already be in the comments or the description below, but I'm totally here for that type of support. And again, I still will be going on Periscope Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays. Mondays, though, is the big top 3 day. That's the one that I'll be going on at 9 a.m. for sure. The other ones will be different times throughout the day, and I'll definitely settle on something so you can hang with that, Deborah. I don't want to mess with your flow. But yeah, this was all really great. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. I'm just like, if you guys have questions, leave them in the comments. We will definitely check back here.
And how can people find you on Periscope?
Yeah, Periscope.
Well, you can find me on Periscope. Thank you very much, because I forget. At Ann Samoilov, which is ANNE SAMOILOV. And if you want to put that in the comments, Deborah, that would be awesome.
No, I've got it in the it's in the her Ann's.
I'm joking.
They're in the description box. They're in the description box. And really quickly, Svetlana was asking when our next chat is to save the date. Well, the next CHARMEDBIZ chat, I guess, is what you're saying. I do not yet have a regular schedule for these. If you missed that part of the conversation that I said, Svetlana, I'm actually going to be coming on here regularly on Wednesdays now, so it might be like every other Wednesday. But if you follow me on Instagram, you'll get the skinny. But I'm going to be on here more doing chats, either CHARMEDBIZ chats or just other sorts of tutorials and things like that. So there's going to be more content like this coming up through like these live hangouts. Yeah, it does. It does block the web addresses. See, Deb tried. Deb tried.
Thank you very much, Deb.
Thank you, Deb. Okay, Mandy, send
Now
this
we can
out.
figure out a way to do it then. You guys can catch me at mandyjeanchic.com. All my social media is on the right-hand side, or if you just look up Mandy Jean Chic. I should be the only one. If there's another one, please let me know. But that's the easiest way to find me and to reach me. And my Periscope is also Mandy Jean Chic. And I will be launching, my Facebook group. My whole reason. My Facebook group is bit.ly/videomediatribe, which is below. And did Alexis just disappear?
I don't know. It looks like she might have, but maybe she'll come back in.
Okay. But if you go to my Facebook group, that is where we connect about video media, and it's a very supportive environment. She accidentally closed the window. I was like,
oh my goodness.
Okay.
Hold on. So say that again,
bit.ly/videomediatribe.
Oh, awesome. And then you know what, guys? I didn't even tell you guys, tomorrow I have one more webinar that I'm doing. I did it today, and I'm doing it tomorrow again at 3 p.m. Pacific, which is a little bit later in the day. So if you can make that, you can check out bit.ly/free-launch-class. And that'll get you, oh, wait a minute. Yikes. Yes, that should get you there.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I can't hear you guys. I accidentally closed out of the stupid window, and I had to come back in. For some reason, I can't hear you guys, but if you guys can hear me, that's good. Did Mandy do her outro? Yes? Okay, good. I can't hear what you guys are saying at all. I'm so sorry.
Do we do like hand signals?
Can I do my outro or stop? Keep going. Okay,
No, you can
I'm going to keep going, you guys. Okay, so I'm going to do the outro for this without hearing. I can't hear anything. I don't know what anyone's saying, so no one's saying anything funny without me. So I thank you guys so much for joining me at this CHARMEDBIZ chat. As you guys know, if you guys are not yet subscribed to this channel, please make sure to hit subscribe, give this a like. And of course, if you have any other questions when this goes into replay, feel free to leave them in the comments. Make sure you're following me at MissTrenchcoat. And one thing I do want to let you guys know about, if you've not been aware of this already, I do have an online business, a free online business resource guide, and a Facebook community for female business owners, female entrepreneurs, people who are trying to work on their side hustle. So if you are on this because you are someone trying to get information about social media, I have a whole free resource and a private Facebook group where you can join us, and I'm constantly adding to the conversation, and we're all kind of sharing our own input. This is like a little community of girl bosses. Mandy's there, Anne's there. There's a ton of other awesome girl bosses over on the Facebook group. So I'm going to give you guys a link, and I will make sure it's linked down below in the description box. I don't think it's there yet, actually. I think I forgot to put it in. But it's bit.ly/CharmedBizDRL. So I will make sure to have it linked down below. And I hope you guys will sign up for the free resource guide and join me in the Facebook group so we can have continue this conversation and have more awesome, valuable content added. So thank you to Mandy Jean and to Anne Samoila for coming. And we will see you guys in the next chat, okay? Bye-bye.
See you guys.